Hi everyone and welcome to day one of the Book Junkie trials, and I am so excited to get started. But at the same time, it's also the week that Legion comes out to start with. The final season starts airing in the UK this Thursday. It's also Stranger Things Season 3 release day, and today is also Spider-Man release day. And that means I'm going to be watching a lot of TV this week, mainly Legion Season 1 and 2 to catch up before the third season, because I can't remember anything that happened in Season 2, quite frankly. I'm also rewatching Season 2 of Stranger Things at the moment, but that's in the evenings where I don't really read anyway. And obviously I've got the midnight showing for Spider-Man tonight, then I'm seeing it tomorrow again at midday. So I'm quite busy this week. I have planned around this because I'm going to be reading all of the comic books this week. So I've got Spider-Man Deadpool number 8 Road Trip, as well as Spider-Man Renew Your Vows, The Venom Experiment, and Spider-Man Greatest Villains. Now, I'm only going to be reading the first story in this one because it's about Mysterio, because obviously Mysterio is in the new Spider-Man film. But I will be reading these two in full, as well as my 3 Legion comics. So I'm rather excited to get on with it at the moment, because that's the only way I'm going to manage to get through all of this TV watching and film watching and reading at the same time. Next week's going to be easier, but this week it's really all about the TV, if I'm completely honest. I'm getting 6 books into my TBR, so let's get going. Wednesday, and I have read nothing and I have filmed nothing. I've mostly not filmed anything because I haven't read anything, and to be fair, I do have an excuse for this, because Monday night I went to the Spider-Man Far From Home midnight showing, and then I was watching it again at midday the next day with my best friend because she couldn't make it to the midnight showing, and I've basically spent the last 48 hours having a major meltdown over Spider-Man. It's incredible. I love it. It was the best follow-up to Endgame possible. I loved it. Full review will be down below if you want to check it out, because otherwise I'm going to spend this entire vlog talking about Spider-Man, and quite frankly, nobody cares. So yeah, but what my plan is to today read, if you give me a second, because I've got a pile of books next to me here, but I'm going to read this book because this one is obviously a Spider-Man comic, but it's not part of my original 5 Outlaw prompts, so I can read this now. And then tomorrow is obviously Thursday. Stranger Things is coming out, so I am planning on binging Stranger Things for the entire day. And then Friday is the day that I read my at least 2 Legion comics, because the other one doesn't matter at the moment because that's a prompt outside of the Outlaw prompts, but the first 2 Outlaw prompts are Legion comics. And then I'm going on to Spider-Man Deadpool Road Trip, which is the 3rd one on my list of Outlaw prompts. So hopefully by the end of the week I will have finished 4 prompts and will be obviously that much closer to completing the Book Junkie trials for the Outlaws, which I'm really excited for. And this is why I actually planned it, because I knew that this week wasn't going to be a reading week, because I knew Spider-Man was coming out. I knew I wanted to binge watch the entirety of Legion this week as well, because Legion also comes out on Thursday, and I also knew that Stranger Things was coming out. So all the comics this week is the plan, and it's going quite well so far. I have read nothing, but these are quick to read, so Friday is going to be my day. I can feel it. one comic, which is not part of the Outlaw prompt. So my plan is to finish editing the video I just did, which is the Stranger Things book tag. Then I'm going to try and finish the next 3 prompts for the Outlaws, which will be Legion comic number 1, Shadow King Rising, and then also Spider-Man Deadpool number 8, Road Trip. So then I'm at least halfway through the Outlaw prompts that I can then finish next week. Because at the moment I'm seriously far behind because I've been too busy watching TV. So let's go. I've got one day to do this. Let's get going. So it's probably time to wrap things up. So the first thing I read was X-Men Legacy Prodigal, which was the first Legion comic, and I still love this comic so much. I find it really, really interesting to see how David is in the comics compared to what he is in the TV show, and I love seeing everything about how his mind works and how the X-Men treat him and everything like that. I absolutely love it, and I gave it 4 stars. Then I was supposed to go on to Shadow King Rising for the second prompt as part of the Outlaws, and then I've decided to not read it because upon looking at reviews, it does come up with some very, very problematic things, because it turns out that the author of this comic has made the characters say that David developed autism at age 10 because of trauma, and that is impossible because autism is not brought on by trauma. The same way it's not brought on by vaccines. It's not anything to do with trauma, vaccines, or anything like that. Autism is something that you are born with. There is no other way to get it apart from being born with it. There is no evidence whatsoever that trauma brings on autism, and I just could not read that whatsoever. So I've decided instead to read my stolen book, which is Down Among the Sticks and Bones, but I ran out of time because I completely buggered everything up and read things out of order this week because I'm an idiot. So this is my first read for week 2 because I'm an idiot. I was really, really looking forward to this comic though, because 1, it was going to be David's first ever appearance in an X-Men comic. 2, it was the first time Charles was going to meet David and find out he was his son. And 3, it was dealing with the Shadow King, which is obviously the main point of the TV show Legion, and I was just really excited to read that, to see everything that goes on in the comics and compare it to the TV show. But with that autism rep, I can't deal with it, so instead I'm going to read Down Among the Sticks and Bones this week because I ran out of time last week. So I'm an idiot, essentially, and I've completely buggered up everything, but I'll carry on with what else I've read. I also managed to read The Venom Experiment, which is volume 2 of the Spider-Man Renew Your Vows series, and this one was amazing and brought everything back for me. I absolutely love seeing the X-Men and Mysterio in this comic, especially seeing as I am on a bit of an X-Men binge at the moment, and because obviously Mysterio is the main villain for Spider-Man Far From Home. Full review of that film down below if you want to check it out. And I did just generally love this comic. I love seeing the dynamics between Peter and MJ and how they deal with their daughter and everything else. I absolutely love it. I love the family elements to it and everything else. And I gave this one 4 stars as well. And then I did manage to read the third prompt for the Outlaws, despite having not read the second one because I'm an idiot. But we'll move on from that because I've learned I'm not going to do that again. I will plan better next time and do my research before I read something. But the third thing I read was Spider-Man Deadpool Road Trip, and I love this comic so much. I know a lot of people don't really like it because it's a bit all over the place, but I absolutely love the Deadpool and Spider-Man interactions with each other. I love seeing the adventures, and basically I just love seeing Peter and Wade interact and seeing all the fourth wall breaks and everything. I especially loved the bit about the superhero landing with Deadpool, sort of calling out Ryan Reynolds in that moment in Deadpool 2. Absolutely loved it. Loved all the Deadpool references and all the film references and sort of like Wade trying to explain to Peter exactly what's going on with the fourth wall breaking and all the rest of it and who he's talking to. And I just loved all of that, and I love the interactions. It's not something I read for the storyline. I read it mostly for Peter and Wade's interactions, and for that I give it 4 stars. Absolutely loved it. So really, I've managed to read 3 prompts. I am going back to read the second prompt for the Outlaws, so I am still on track for the Outlaws, hopefully. But that is everything I read this week. Next week I'm hoping to read more. Obviously this week has been rather busy because my rewatch game has been massive this week and I've really got to stop doing that. But luckily I have rewatched everything I wanted to rewatch, so now I am just focusing on the reading for the next 3 weeks until Yauk. So hopefully I get through all the rest of the books I need to get to and actually keep everything going in order that I'm supposed to be reading them in. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please do give me a thumbs up. Comment down below with what you read this week and if you've gone out of order like me, because I'd love to know. I'll also leave a link down below to all of my social media if you want to check it out. If you want to see any more of my videos, please click subscribe here, and over here will be the link to my previous video. But until next time, guys, bye.